want to let you know that we welcome comments about the podcast. You can write me at fredjeffsmith@cox.net, Fred Jeff Smith at cox.net, and let us know how we're doing, good, bad, or otherwise. We want this to be a good venue for excellent conversation, and we welcome your input. Very happy today to welcome Mr. Niles Hamer to the Thrive Podcast. Mr. Hamer is an attorney here in Baton Rouge, and he's currently running for juvenile court judge. And I'm very happy that you took the time to share with us today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well today. I'm very happy to be here today to speak with you, brother.
Well, good. Tell us about Niles Hamer. I know you told me a little bit before we started recording, but tell us about the Niles Hamer story.
Well, I'm 41 years old. I've been practicing here in the state of Louisiana in Baton Rouge for the last 16 years. I graduated from Southern University Law Center in 2003. And in my 16 years of practicing, I've done civil cases, do a lot of criminal defense work, I do a lot of juvenile court work. But I was actually supposed to be a corporate lawyer at one time. I was in law school, I was getting all these calls from these big corporate law firms, and my professor, Professor Jacqueline Nash, who's a member of Shiloh,
Yes.
pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, baby, I need you to do something for me. I need you to sign up for my juvenile law clinic class, because not that many students had signed up for it." I said, "Well, I don't know. I don't really have an interest in juvenile law, but I'll do it." So I signed up for the class, and immediately I started taking cases, and I gained a passion for it because the kids that were coming in for me to represent mirrored me, reminded me of me, all the way down to the issues that they were having. And what I realized is that when you're growing up as a young black male and you don't have a father in the house, that it's going to lead to behavioral problems, it'll lead to possible substance abuse problems, more likely to drop out of high school, and just could end up in prison. Those are the stats. Those stats are real, just by not having a father in the home. And I didn't grow up with a father in my home. I grew up, actually born here in Baton Rouge at the Women's Hospital. I almost call it the old Women's Hospital. It's a police station now.
Yes.
But at the Women's Hospital in 1978. And I lived here until 1986. My parents were divorced. My dad was a lawyer at the time. He used to actually practice with Walter Dumas. I believe he's a member of your church. Yes. And the office right down the street, right above Webb's Barbershop, they practiced there for years and years. But what happened to my dad, he had a substance abuse problem. He had a drug addiction. And that drug addiction caused him to lose his family. He focused on the drugs, and as a child, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is we had to move to Mississippi, back to my mom's hometown. So I grew up in Gulfport, Mississippi, but I didn't have my father there. That was the thing that caused a lot of anger in my childhood. I began to act out, and I just wasn't a whole child, WHOLE, whole child, because I was missing something. And fortunately for me, I had a mom that had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet. I had 2 other brothers. It was difficult, but I had that village. I had that pastor in church that kind of pulled me to the side to help me along. I had my track coach who kind of helped me along. I had a village of people that kind of stood in the shoes of my father. You really can't replace that, but helped us along the way. My mom always told me that I could be somebody. I can change the world. And children today, they just don't hear that sometimes. And just the mere words of "you can be somebody, you can change the world, you can make a difference," can go a long way with a child. And growing up, I heard that a lot. I attended Southern in 1996, majored in political science, did 4 years at Southern, and went straight to Southern University Law Center, where I graduated in 2003 after doing my 1 year in juvenile law clinic. I turned down corporate jobs because I had a passion for juvenile justice. And I remember Professor Nash telling me, "Well, baby, you only have to take 1 case a year. You need to go out there and make money. You're not going to make money in juvenile court."
Right.
So I promised that I would just take 1 case a year. I ended up taking about 50 cases a year at no charge. So I've worked 16 years in juvenile court representing families, children, on real issues for 16 years, and I can count on my 2 hands the amount of times I've been paid. And I'm talking about hundreds of cases. And I didn't do it for the money. I
Mhm.
did it because these kids, they needed somebody to believe in them.
Mhm.
And 90% of the system is African American boys, males, who are growing up with the family unit not complete,
Mhm.
and thinking that they only can amount to a troublemaker. They can only do what their father did, which was end up in prison or end up dead, and they think they have no hope. I've had kids at the age of 15 that hadn't even crossed the hump to go to Southern University's campus. And it's unbelievable. We're right here in Baton Rouge and they live right in Scotlandville, and you've never been to Southern's campus
Mhm.
or LSU. They feel like it's not attainable for them.
Mhm.
And I believe in giving those kids hope. And I believe in seeing them for the potential that they have. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I was that kid at one time.
You mentioned that while you were born here, you spent a large amount of your childhood in Gulfport. I believe you also told me that your parents were alums of Alcorn.
That's true.
Did you ever think about staying in Mississippi? What drew you back to Baton Rouge as opposed to Mississippi?
That's a very good question, because